Give me one moment here. I just want to confirm this is live.
It says it up in the top corner.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right under my screen share, it does say live.
Okay, we are good to go.
All right, so we'll call this meeting. Oh,
sorry about that. You're good to go now.
Yep. No worries. Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order at 6:13. Hopefully you guys were all able to get a copy of the previous minutes. It should have been in that original email I sent out last week. So provided everyone got that and got a chance to look at them, we'll just do a quick, if you can all say yay if you approve. If anyone has an issue that needs to be changed, just let me know now.
Yay.
I hear
Yes.
That's good enough for me. All right, moving on to membership updates. I believe we are good with everyone until towards the end of this year, and that's going to be you and John, Chad. So we just need to figure out exactly what's going on there. As long as your organizations want to keep with you guys, that works. So we're good there. No updates that I'm aware of for Route 40 or Blenheim. Tim, any new road grants?
Well, we did have a grant. We actually have a grant from the State Highway Administration for the road improvements on Lewis Lane for the widening. We actually contracted that out. The company ECH won the award, and we're working with Harford County to get their, because they have to do, I guess, bacon, whatever that weighs, bacon, well, the salary requirements are part of that. So they have to go through all that with the county, and they're working that out. And once we get that worked out, we'll start the project and get that completed.
Sounds good. Okay, you have to bear with me. I'm going to go a little slower because I'm going to have to take notes and run the meeting, which I don't like that. All right. Anything new about the traffic pattern around the old 7-Eleven?
Not at this point in time. I know we keep replacing the, they keep getting run over those plastic, the reflectors keep getting run over. So I'm probably going to go ahead and just get a concrete island poured there to kind of take care of, then just replace those reflectors. I'm going to probably try to hope to do that this coming fiscal year, 2022 fiscal year. Some money budgeted for that. But other than that, I know that State Highway Administration is doing a study on that whole Ohio Street, like a feasibility study. I don't know where that project's at with the COVID and everything, whether that got delayed or not.
Okay. I believe the last time I was over it, that railroad at Revolution still needs to be fixed. That rubber.
It does. And Jeff Keithley's been in contact with Northern and I guess Norfolk Southern. They're kind of, my understanding is they're going to redo the whole railroad spur back to Ebonics, and that will be addressed at that point. So that's what the latest is, what they're telling us. They're going to perform maintenance on that whole rail spur.
Okay.
So hopefully they'll take care of that. I don't know.
I understand. Unless anyone feels very strongly about it, I'm going to put a pin in the safe route to the new school because school's not in session right now, and I don't know that we were able to learn very much for what little bit of time that people were using that school. So I'm guessing when the new school year starts, that's when we're really going to see what needs to be done and what we have versus what we need.
Right.
Next one, Tidings Park Basin area. As far as I guess, I don't know if we got a chance. I don't think we've run a speed spy in that area in a little while. So we might be able to get that on the list after we do. Ken, I talked to you about it earlier today. You remember where I asked you if we could put it in today?
I guess again.
Oh, you there, Ken?
He typed .sego in the chat box.
Oh, perfect. Great. Thank you. Sorry about that. I got to remember to keep everything up. Yes, .sego. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so it's up there now on Otsego. As soon as Otsego is done, maybe we can move it down to that Tidings Park area. We'll figure out a place to put it down there, and we'll run speed down there to see what's going on and if there's anything we can fix down there. Tim, the last time I was down there, I don't believe it was done. But the parking lot where the Tidewater Grill and Legion is, we haven't redone those lines yet, right?
We have not, and we're waiting. Right now, I've got a project going on for the intake pipes to the water treatment plant, and I'm going to be digging up that parking lot to put the intake pipes in. So once that's completed and we get the paving back again, we'll restrike the parking lot and maybe put in some traffic hours and such like that. But I've got to get that project completed. It's been bid out. Contractors working on it, getting ready to get the project started. But once that's done, then I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Why paint it if you're just going to tear it up?
Exactly.
Money. No, that makes perfect sense. But yeah, definitely do something to make it so less people will be going in the out way for that, because that seems to be the biggest problem there. Is I'm guessing people don't know that it's one way or can't figure it out or just don't either or ignore the signs. I don't know. There's no fixing that part, but at least if we can put a little bit more arrows down, maybe it'll help.
Okay.
And then the pedestrian activated crossings is the next thing. I'm pretty sure we've said most of those are all state crossings. And I know that around the school we're supposed to get fixed soon. Do you know if they got them done yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
No.
Well, they've got a few months before school starts again, so hopefully they'll get that done. Do you know if they got a chance to look at that Route 40 and Lewis Lane, the pedestrian cross times?
The state highway is committed to doing that.
Okay.
But I haven't. Right now. There's a lot of issues going on with state highway and their response to getting things taken care of. So it's things that just, I guess, because they're still working at home.
Okay.
And then their workforce is all split up, so it's kind of really strange. They're just kind of delayed in getting things done.
Okay. Let's see. And I know Ken, we talked about this a little bit. So as of last meeting, the police department was going to keep track of any openings along that Amtrak fence line. Casey, it says you raised your hand. Did you have something?
Can't speak. Can you guys hear me?
Nope. Can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little robot-y. Yes. I believe you've
Can
gone.
you hear me?
Oh, now you're unmuted. You might want to keep your video off. If you keep your video off and just use your vocals, we'll hear you better because it'll be less. It's less data traffic for it to try and figure out.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about the crossover. Is there something else we can ask the state highway to do to make it more pedestrian friendly going McDonald's? Oh, can you hear me?
So I think what you were saying, you broke up a lot there at the end, but I think what you were saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is make the crossing at the McDonald's more pedestrian friendly.
I can't
Be
hear anything. I'm going inside.
Okay, that would be crossing Otsego at the McDonald's to make that more pedestrian friendly, maybe. while she's working on that, I'm going to say, and yep, there's a chat. Okay, so you're saying that Amtrak is aware, but they're just not, and they'll address it as soon as, and they'll, I guess, address it as soon as they have the chance. Okay, yeah, that seems to be what that says. All right. Well, while we're waiting on Casey for that other thing, I'm going to move into the election thing real quick. I kind of addressed that a little bit in the email, but I didn't receive nominations or anything from anyone, so I'm going to assume that we're continuing with our current officers, being myself, Jeff, and Cheryl. So unless something changes, we'll move forward that way into next year. And then we'll address that again next year when that comes around. Last thing that I have on the agenda, and Casey, just interrupt whenever you get to where you are.
Hey, can you hear me?
Perfect. Much better.
Okay. I went inside the building. I thought I was on the Wi-Fi out there, but it wasn't working. So, Tim, is there anything that we can suggest or any ideas that you've seen other places to make the crossing at Route 40 and McDonald's easier for pedestrians? I know down here at Bethany, they have lights whenever somebody is in the crosswalk. That happens. I'm not sure if there's anything else. I do know that people get stuck on that island a lot, and then with the cars going by at 65 miles per hour, or it's frightening. Over.
I mean, there's issues we can. I mean, I certainly can ask them to look into that, to try to make it more user-friendly and then express our concerns. But at the end of the day, it's their money and they're going to spend it however they want to spend it. But we certainly can ask that and see what, I'll talk to John about it and see if he, say we've got a lot of foot traffic utilizing the McDonald's and we need to, try to make it a little safer than what's out.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't quite. It also wasn't just quite going over to the McDonald's. It was going over to the ROFO.
That's the second location. People literally crossing 40 at Ohio, jumping the barrier and going into Royal Farms.
Well, I mean, they should.
It happens all the time.
I know it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way we can stop that, making the barrier bigger, because you really shouldn't be jumping the barrier on a divided highway like that.
One of the things the state's looking at is they're actually looking at that whole intersection. So they've got about 3 or 4 different concepts that they're looking at cost-wise to study that whole area at Ohio Street, crossing over to the. So they're actually looking at that from a pedestrian and actual traffic movement study as far as the backups that are associated with that intersection and, the Ohio Street and Route 40 and the whole mess that's out. So that's all under study. I mean, there may be a possibility they change the direction of the road. There's all kind of different ideas they're looking at. Making the road one way, coming up with different ideas. So, I think they probably wait for the study to come through. And I can check with John to see where they're at with the study. And,
I was able to take Councilman Beulah across, made him cross the road there at 40 and McDonald's at Lewis Lane, and it made him stay in the middle. And it was during one of the times where 95 had an accident and we had the major backup again, and people blocked the intersection. And I showed him what happens from a pedestrian point of view, that just when that happens, even though the cars aren't moving, it's perilous trying to weave through them in order to get to the other side.
Yeah, it's bad. It's a horrible intersection. It's absolutely horrible intersection.
So
yeah, it's a horrible intersection.
I think from what we can do, Tim, you do what you do because you're talking professional, but we just need to keep the county council bend their ear every time that we see one of them, to let them know that the intersections there are important and that we need to find a solution because our kids are crossing over Route 40 at McDonald's to go to school. And we have a large amount of Havre de Grace is a pedestrian city and they're crossing over to go to Royal Farms and back. And we need a solution and we need pedestrians to be part of the solution, not
Sure.
just cars. But Tim, you do great working with those guys. I think it's for us, the members of the committee, that we need to make sure that it's raised. And whenever we see one of our county council people or any state person, we need to make sure that they're on board with it as well. Over.
Okay.
No, I definitely agree. All right, so we are down to the in-person meeting thing. So as far as that goes, I was able to talk with Adam a couple minutes before the meeting, but having the city is back to full in-person, no restrictions. So if everyone is comfortable now, and I'll send around an email so that way you can respond anonymously. Well, I mean, I guess I'm going to know who responded, but I won't, obviously I'm not going to say anything to anyone else. But if anyone is uncomfortable with it, and I'll put this in the email that I send out to everyone, it might not be this evening, but sometime in the next couple of days, I will put out an email to everyone and then ask, please respond if you're uncomfortable meeting in person. If if you are uncomfortable, we'll continue doing this at least through the end of the year, and then we'll revisit it. So I will do that. If basically if anyone says they're uncomfortable with it, we'll continue with what we're doing with the current plan. If everyone is comfortable with going back to in-person, my suggestion is we'll be skipping July anyway, because July was one of our normal skips as a committee, mainly because of vacations and all kinds of stuff. The amount of people that showed up to the July meeting was even usually worse than the June meeting, and this one is not greatly attended either. So we'd be starting back in August anyway, but we could start back in person in August, the way we're meeting in the before times. So we can start back with that if that's good with everyone. But like I said, I will shoot around an email and then you'll have an answer, within a couple weeks of that as to what the plan is moving forward, whether we're going to stick with Zoom meetings for a little bit until the end of the year, or we're going to go back to in person. Just to put my 2 cents in, I'm definitely okay going back to in-person meetings, and I look forward to hopefully getting to go up in November, provided they're okay with it still. But I would definitely like to get back into the hold on, chat popped up there. I would like to get back into the ambulance corps building to do our yearly meeting up there again, because that's always a good time, and it gives us a chance to see that building and any changes that were made. So I know I'm good with that. I don't mind putting that out there. But like I said, I'll shoot around an email so that way everyone has a chance to answer and let me know what their personal preference is. If we go back to in-person meetings, we'll go back to monthly meetings. So we'd start in August, go through the end of the year, probably skip December like usual, and then start again in January like we always would. If we stick with the Zoom, we'll stick with the every 2 months, but we might switch around November and December depending on when those fall. With that, that's the last thing we have on the written agenda. Did any of you guys have any comments that you heard from citizens over the last couple months? Okay, any of the committee members have any comments? Okay, well, given that, I am going to call the meeting at 6:31. And I will follow up. Like I said, we'll get a follow-up email chain going, and we'll figure out what we're going to do moving forward. I believe if I'm not mistaken, on this agenda, I just put it as if August was our next meeting. I didn't put whether it was in person or, what we do.
JW, it's
Yes.
Casey. I was going back and forth on the mute thing. One thing has come up to me, and it was as a result. I already talked to Tim about it and the chief. For the carnival down South Washington Street, we had an extremely high number of people going the wrong way on the one-way street.
Okay.
And with 4th of July coming up, hopefully there's some way to kind of help redirect people to make sure that they don't continue to go down the wrong way. And it's mainly out of towners that are doing it. So they clearly don't know it's a one-way street.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully we'll either have better signage or something, because I'm not sure what they're shutting down as far as streets for the 4th, because I know everything changes on the 4th, because then we make things one way to try and get everyone out after the fireworks happen. But I'm sure Ken and everyone will take care of as far as that kind of stuff goes, hopefully. But I don't know that there's much more signage. I mean, the signage there is pretty good, isn't it? I mean,
Tim and I were wondering if it's when people come down Revolution, if that's, they're coming down Revolution, then taking the right and going the wrong way or in South Washington. I'm not sure. I don't know where these people are coming in from, but they go all the way down to Tidings Park the wrong way on the road.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd have to look at that, because and again, it might just be because I know it's one way, but I always thought the signage there was pretty decent. But maybe there's a crossing that I'm not thinking of that we're missing that we need to look at. So I'll try and see, and anyone who lives around there too, just try and see if you can follow that through a different route and see, hit it at different crossings and see if it's still, if it's fairly clear to you that it would be one way. And
Yeah.
then that way, if we take a look at it that way, then we can, come back to the
You
next.
would think everybody would see the cars parked on both sides going the opposite direction.
You would think that would be a clue, but I guess not.
No, it's unbelievable. And yeah, for the carnival, it was off the hook.
Okay. Well, and it's maybe just a place that we could see without knowing where they're getting on. It's not like we could even have something there, have someone there being like, no, don't do this. Because if we don't know where they're getting on, like where the mistake is happening, it's hard to stop it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the police department can keep an eye on that area during the 4th, just to make sure that none of that nonsense happens, or at least less.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna call it back then. So does anyone else have anything that if they were on? And Ken says 10-4, so he got that. So I'm gonna call it back then. Does anyone else have anything to bring up? And I apologize for not catching that, Casey. Okay. Well, not hearing that, I'm gonna call it at 6:35 now. And thank you guys for all being here. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I will shoot around an email over the next couple months. Feel free, if you see anything, hear anything, shoot me an email, let me know. I'll make sure it gets onto the next agenda. And then everyone have a wonderful 4th. I'm not sure how it shook out, but there's a chance, and I was hoping to talk to her about it today, but there's a good chance that that Cheryl from our committee will be one of the judges up there on the platform.
Yay!
So I don't know how it shook out. I put her name forth as a person to be able to do it. So provided they were able to get the schedule worked out, there's a good chance that everyone will get to see her up there.
That's awesome. I miss seeing her.
Yeah. So everyone have a great 4th. And like I said, you hear anything, you let me know, and I'll do my best to get it on an agenda and see if we can get it fixed.
Wonderful.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.